Eddie and I interrupted Kelly and told her we would have nothing to do with raising this new baby and would not be providing anything, supplies, childcare, etc. Kelly flipped out and an argument ensued. Welcome back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories, where I go over them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today, I'm going to go over an article that's covering a story that went viral on Reddit titled, Parents Backed for Telling Pregnant Daughter They Wouldn't Help Raise Her Child. And guys, this story is coming from the reviewing the parents' perspective. And essentially, their irresponsible daughter, when she was 16 years old, was already riding the carousel with Chad and Tyrone back then, got pregnant, kept the baby, and essentially was so reckless and irresponsible, the parents, or the grandparents, raised the child. And for 16 years, she barely lifted a finger, didn't do anything, and kept being irresponsible, which definitely was also on the parents because they obviously allowed that to happen. 16 years later, when she's like 33, she gets pregnant again. And they flat out said, look, we're not doing this a second time. We are not going to be raising a child while you're out gallivanting somewhere. We already raised your other great child here and not do it again. And of course, she has a meltdown and all that, all this drama. And there's this turmoil and divide in the family. But it's amazing to me how many times that these people will have kids and the grandparents end up raising the kid. I've seen this multiple times with people I've known throughout my life. And these kids are good kids. I mean, the kids being raised are good kids, but their parents are completely irresponsible jackasses. Now, one can make the case the parents raised those children to be jackasses or allowed them to be that way. We can go back and forth on that. But at the end of the day, these kids, they have them young, or even when they're older, and they're just irresponsible. It's a shame. And these young kids that have these irresponsible parents, it's unfortunate. But this story here is the same thing. The kid that was born because the mother was pregnant at 16 is a good kid, and the grandparents raised that kid well, but the mother's just a complete jackass. So I love it when parents finally lay down the law with these irresponsible jackasses that call themselves adults. But anyhow, going to go into the story. Starts off, it says here, in a new viral post, the internet has defended a mother and father after they told their daughter they wouldn't be helping raise her child. Published to Reddit's popular forum, Am I the A-hole? A woman under the name such and such bad grandmother explains her story at the Am I the A-hole community. The original poster began her story by explaining that her daughter Kelly became pregnant at the age of 16. Kelly decided she wanted to keep the baby, and of course the OP and her husband, Eddie, were helpful with taking care of the baby. The baby named Opal. Opal is now 16 and Kelly's 33. So, you're going to see here, 16 years old, their daughter got pregnant, riding the carousel already by 16. And, well, she obviously doesn't stop riding the carousel and is equally as reckless and irresponsible throughout her life. The grandmother wrote, "We helped a lot as Kelly was only 17 when Opal was born. However, Kelly would rarely help with parenting even when she was available. Even asking her to watch Opal for an hour while we ran errands was an issue. It was rare that Kelly wouldn't complain about why she had to be there to look after Opal." Well, smack to her. This is her child. The grandparents are raising her freaking child, and she's there bitching because she has to watch the kid. What an irresponsible jackass. I mean, seriously. And that poor little kid has that jackass for a mother. And I'm willing to bet you also the reason that she's this reckless and careless is because also she had a girl. The whole mother-daughter thing. Kelly chose not to attend college after graduation. She had a job with flexible schedule. And Kelly was obviously very flexible with men. Yet she rarely made herself available for Opal. Kelly was only home to sleep or get dressed for some party. There's a surprise. Well, it's great that the grandparents are helping out and raise this child because obviously the mother is a piece of crap. But then again, going out to parties, you want to talk about irresponsible. I'd like to hear more with the parents laying down the law with their irresponsible daughter. Clearly not hearing that. She also relied on us to purchase supplies and book appointments for Opal. Eddie and I would have serious talks with Kelly that she needed to step up as a parent. Kelly would only make empty promises and never follow through on them. She continued. Yeah, well, I'd be like this. We're going to get sole custody of your child, and you're not going to have anything to do with this child, and you can get the fuck out of our lives, you disgraceful so-called parent. Then lay down the law that way. According to the American Society for the Positive Care of Children, it can be estimated that over 6 million children live with one grandparent in the United States. I am not surprised at that. I've seen this before in my life, and I'm sure many of you guys have seen this. The parents of the little kid are so irresponsible. The grandparents raise them, And those kids that had the child young are off doing God knows what. Oftentimes they get in a lot of trouble, into drugs, some in jail. No joke. When Opal was 6, Kelly moved out and rarely came to visit her daughter. The OP wrote that Opal is doing great in school, plays sports, and has great friends. She also plans on being a marine biologist when she graduates high school. In celebration of school being over for Opal and receiving good grades, the entire family went out for dinner. Kelly came along, as well as other family members. Everything was going well until Kelly announced that she was pregnant again. Unbelievable. Well, let me backtrack. That's totally believable given how these types are. And she's probably thinking, oh, well, my parents will raise another one of my children. Not happening. The OP and her husband believed this to be inappropriate as the dinner was supposed to be celebrating Opal. Kelly said that she and her boyfriend were so busy with life. Well, she was busy getting on probably with multiple dudes. Anyway, this is a party for the child to celebrate, getting out of high school or something. And of course, her low-life mother has to announce she's pregnant, stealing the thunder from the daughter. And by the way, where's the biological father to this child? There's a question. Probably Kelly doesn't even know. The OP explained Eddie and I interrupted Kelly and told her we would have nothing to do with raising this new baby and would not be providing anything for it, supplies, childcare, etc. Kelly flipped out and an argument ensued. They got every right to lay out the boundaries and say, we're not doing this shit again. You're 33 years old. You and your baby daddy can take care of this child. And the sad thing is, this child will be raised in a very crappy environment, But these grandparents, it's not their job to raise their freaking children's children, okay? That's nice they obviously help out, and it's good this kid has good grandparents, but still, it's amazing how irresponsible people are. Kelly called us heartless and claimed we were willing to throw away our grandchild away. She's willing to throw her child away again. Gaslighting. Eddie and I called her selfish for expecting us to raise another child. We are too old to raise a baby. Kelly is 33 and needs to grow up. Give the baby up for adoption or be a parent and raise it yourself. Kelly left in tears. Now the family has broken into sides, she continued. How is there any sides here? How can anybody possibly be on the side of that asshole, their daughter, pulling this stunt a second time? Some family members believe the OP and Eddie are to blame as they don't care about their new grandchild, and others are saying they should have spoken to Kelly privately, as it was rude to start an argument in front of everyone. Bullshit. She's the one that had to bring this whole thing up. And these other family members aren't the ones that were raising this child for 16 years. I guarantee if they were raising this girl's child 16 years, they'd have something to say about this. It's amazing how people have an opinion until they experience it themselves. Many Reddit users defended the parents in the comments section. Well, thank the Lord. One commenter said, I think you're not the a-hole. Kelly is a deadbeat mother. How does Opal feel about this? Opal was pushed aside by her own mother and ignored. Now her mom is going out and starting a new family with yet another guy. But what happened to Opal and her mother's relationship? It's non-existent. You were blunt with Kelly. Good. She deserves a kick in the behind. She deserves many kicks in her behind. Another one says, 100% not the a-hole. How are they 33 years old and didn't even take care of their first child and expect you to do the same? It's time for her to grow up and accept the reality she's making for herself. Well, she's never grown up and never had to grow up because obviously there was someone always there to clean up her problems. And yes, that could be on the parents, but still they obviously love their grandchild enough that they were going to take care of the grandchild. Another one says, not the a-hole. You adopted Opal because at the time your daughter was a teenager without the life skills or independence to raise a child on their own. Kelly is now fully an adult and should not expect the same level of support that she got at 17 years old. Another one says, not the a-hole at all! Exclamation points. Your daughter is an entitled a-hole and I feel so sorry for Opal and her new baby. I'm glad Opal had you, but please don't enable Kelly's behavior any longer. She needs to realize she's an adult. She can't have her cake and eat it too. Either be a parent or stop having kids. Well, sadly, it's unfortunate when trash breed. I would think that the child Opal the grandchild here, by the time when she's 18, would just pretty much divorce her mom, have nothing to do with her. She'd be better off without her. And the last one says, not the a-hole, my opinion. I think you're doing okay. You were doing okay what you did after she hijacked your granddaughter's celebration. Shame on her. Another life brought into the world for everyone else to take care of. What a shame. It is a shame. And you know what? You got that all over the world. People like that. And tough situation. The grandparents, they don't want to have to obviously raise yet another child, but also, and have to deal with that. But they also, you know, in the original grandchild, see it being raised by a child, an irresponsible jackass. That's the thing. Now, there are some situations where a very young gal might have a child very young and grow up real quick. And that happens, and that's nice, but unfortunately, it's more the latter with these immature jackasses. So it's amazing that how often trash breeds. That's the last thing we need. But hopefully her first child, the grandchild being raised, sounds like she's being raised very well and will go off to surpass her mother. And I guarantee that her mother, her a-hole mother, will hate her guts for that. But you know what? There's nothing like success to stick it to people that have hated you and made things difficult for you. But anyhow, I love to hear when people lay down the law with spoiled, entitled asshole kids. But we can go back and forth on who raised them. So, all right, guys, that is it for today. It's a quick one. Good story here. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Let me know, guys. Have you ever known people that in this situation, they had a child young, then the grandparents raised them? How'd that whole thing work out? How was that whole dynamic? How'd that play through? I'd like to hear about it. And also, guys, you come across a good story like me to share on this channel, something entertaining or wild or crazy, or I don't know, something good, by all means, email it to me, strongsuccessfulmail@gmail.com. Just be sure to include the link in the thing. Or if you got a great story you'd like to share about crazy in your personal life, email that to me too, and I'll definitely cover it down the road. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.